Boxing Truth here. Wanted to talk about the Leo Santa Cruz Carl Frampton fight. And I had to be sure of what I saw. So I watched it 2 times. And Carl Frampton did not defeat Leo Santa Cruz. I scored it for Leo Santa Cruz in the 2 times that I watched the fight. I don't know what the fuck some of the boxing media, those 2 judges, or even some fans were watching. Totally disagree with Steve Farhood's cards, other people's cards. It's possible that Steve Farhood is a possible Carl Frampton fanboy. Gave him the first 5 rounds of that fight. How the hell do you have Carl Frampton up 5-0 after 5 rounds? How the hell do you only give Santa Cruz 2 rounds on Steve Farhood's scorecard through 9 rounds? Just a little too much credit being given to Carl Frampton. And I think this fight had the Pacquiao-Marquez 3 effect, where a lot of fans were expecting Santa Cruz to be too much for Carl Frampton, that he was going to mow him down with his activity and work rate and physicality. Some people even picked Santa Cruz by destruction. I picked Santa Cruz to win the fight, and in my eyes, twice in watching the fight, he did. He didn't have the most clear-cut victory. It was a close fight, more competitive than many anticipated going down the stretch, especially. But it's just, what the fuck were those 2 judges watching? They gave Santa Cruz absolutely no credit with a lot of the good work he was doing in that fight. In fact, he threw more punches, landed more punches. I'm not talking about BoxRec either. I'm talking about with what I saw with my eyes. He was the busier fighter by far. He was the much more active fighter. He finished the fighter a lot stronger than Carl Frampton did. He swept the last 3 rounds of my card, which won him the fight. Now, there were some debatable rounds, some close rounds in the fight. Steve Farhood gave Carl Frampton the first 5 rounds. However, how can you make consideration for Santa Cruz winning round 4? How did he not win round 4? You also have to make consideration he won round 1. That was a close round. Round 5 is a swing round. I gave it to Frampton, but you could easily make a case that Santa Cruz won that round as well. But round 4, it was very clear Santa Cruz won that round. And round 5 was a swing round as well. And Santa Cruz team made one mistake in the fight. It was in the middle rounds where Santa Cruz had 2 good back-to-back rounds. I believe it was round 6 and round 7. He won those rounds back-to-back. And then his father told him some bad advice. He told him to keep his distance, try to pick him apart from outside. And it was bad advice. That strategy just wasn't working for Santa Cruz. He was much more effective when he was the aggressor, when he was walking Carl Frampton down and throwing a lot of punches and just trying to walk him down and outwork him. And he cost himself 2 rounds in the middle rounds of that fight. He lost rounds 8 and 9 because he was laying back, being too passive, not being aggressive enough in those rounds. But Santa Cruz adjusted. He won the last 3 rounds big. He was very aggressive. He was landing a lot of punches. He landed more combinations, landed some hellacious shots. And Frampton, if you really watch closely, he only fought in spots. Sometimes he would throw one punch. Sometimes he'll throw a combination here or there. Some pot shot counters. He moved well in the first 4 rounds. Made Santa Cruz reach for him, go after him. And he was able to counter in spots. But Frampton, he fought very well. It was a good performance by him as well. I felt he lost the fight, though, in a close fight. Scored it 7-5 for Santa Cruz. But I didn't think he was active enough. I didn't think he landed as many punches. The big punches he landed, I think Santa Cruz landed just as big, if not bigger, more hellacious shots. And he lost the last 3 rounds big. He was slowing down a little bit down the stretch as Santa Cruz showed, superior conditioning towards the end. Those 2 judges just gave Santa Cruz absolutely no credit for his work rate, his ring generalship, the activity he was landing, the combinations he was landing, the body work he put in. I mean, it was a close fight. I have no complaints of the 114 scorecard, because that's the type of fight I saw. If you want to say Frampton won, it can't be no more than 7 rounds to 5. But even I have an issue with that. It was either a draw or Leo Santa Cruz winning the fight. I just thought he did more work. I thought he landed more punches, landed the bigger punches, was the aggressor. Carl Frampton, I give him credit for, boxing in spots. He boxed the right way. He even, he was willing to stand in the pocket and trade, show his toughness, his heart. And I appreciated that. He went in there and fought as well. He went to war. He didn't just, rely on his movement. He went to war as well because he needed to go to war at times because he was losing, momentum in the fight in the middle rounds. Then he came back and won the rounds 8 and 9. But then I had him losing the 10th, 11th, and 12th, which gave Santa Cruz a tight, close 115-113 type of decision. But, that was the decision, majority decision. Those two scores, just too wide in Frampton's favor. He got too much credit. He got the Pacquiao Marquez 3 effect. He got given credit for surprising people, surprising fans, that he was able to, take some of those shots, withstand some of Santa Cruz's pressure and activity, and did a lot better than most people expected. I mean, he surprised me with his he was able to, hang in there, and his toughness, because he took some big shots. And, he landed some good shots as well. He landed some good power shots, counters. It was a good fight. Both fighters put on a good show. Good fight, close. I have no problem if it was a draw. Maybe a tight win for Frampton, but in my eyes, I thought Santa Cruz won the fight, but it was a lot closer than many expected it would have been. Now, for the future, there's conflicting reports of a rematch clause. Santa Cruz needs to enforce the rematch if the rematch clause is in the contract, is in place. He needs to enforce that rematch. I know he felt he lost the fight. His father told him he won the fight. I felt he won the fight. There's some fans that also felt he won the fight. But those two judges' scorecards, they didn't provide the true story, what really went down in this fight. It was a close fight. Have no problem with a draw. But just those scores are way too wide, and perhaps some of the judges, those two judges, were swayed by the crowd support that Frampton had. They went crazy with every little thing that he did. A lot of fan support showed up for Frampton. He had more support than Leo Santa Cruz did. But they should definitely do a rematch. I think they should do it next. I think Santa Cruz, he needs to right this wrong, this L. I don't believe he lost the fight. Neither guy lost any stock, especially Frampton. He's got a world title. But Leo Santa Cruz, he didn't lose any stock. It was a close fight that I felt he won. Just, get that rematch. If he has to go to Belfast, go to Frampton's hometown, do it. Make sure there's neutral officials, and then be more aggressive than he was. Get a more clear-cut win. Well, at least in my eyes, by being more aggressive, stepping on the gas pedal for all 12 rounds. Don't lay back. He was much more effective coming at Frampton and throwing combinations and trying to walk him down. He was getting the better of him, and he did that the last 3 rounds, and he had a lot of success. He was the much stronger fighter going down the stretch, but it is what it is. I picked against Frampton twice, and officially I've been wrong, but in two of the times that I picked against him, against Quigg and against Leo Santa Cruz, I had him as the loser on my scorecard at the end of the day. So, in my eyes, I feel he's gotten 2 gift decisions. I feel he has 2 L's on his resume. But he's undefeated officially. And now he's a 2-division world champion. And he's going to look perhaps to a rematch or maybe a big UK fight with Lee Selby, unification. A lot of options for Carl Frampton. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.